First and foremost, the person that was arrested for the backgrounds, she told me that she didn't know. Keep in mind, I'm PR and I'm the chief of staff. I need to know the truth, because how can I help you if you don't tell me, of all people, the truth? She told me, she said, I didn't know he had a background. She said, I didn't know. I can't believe he did this to me. I didn't know he had a background, because I was watching the board meeting that day. And in that same board meeting, she added me on the agenda to vote me in as a contractor. Whole time, I work there. I'm at work. I'm on the clock. I am a W-2 employee, so why am I on the agenda? But whatever. And I noticed that she introduced the other people this same board meeting, the chief of staff who was quitting, and the media guy. And I'm like, but I'm here, I'm an employee. Why am I on the agenda to be voted on? But okay, this is interesting. Back to the person. I saw it come up in the comment section on YouTube, so the next day I pulled him and I pulled Tiffany in the office. I said, y'all got 48 hours before this place is swarmed with media. I need to know what happened. She said, I didn't know. He looked at her kind of funny, but he didn't open his mouth. Later, I found out not only she knew, she was his friend.
Well, Tiffany Henyard is back in the news again. And we all know Tiffany Henyard, the polarizing figure, the mayor of Dolton, Illinois, and the supervisor of Thornton Township. This story has been going on for some years now. And I've been asking you guys, how did she get there in the first place? Why was she even in this position? Well, now you guys heard from her former chief of staff, who she fired, where she had already had a problem hiring sketchy and questionable guys, men with sketchy backgrounds. She was saying that these people deserved a second chance. You know, she talked about the felony system and how these men can't get jobs, and she was hiring this men. But this guy, Lavelle, was locked up for SA assault. He had these type of issues, and her former chief of staff went out to get out in front of it, right? But Tiffany Henyard, unbothered by so much stuff, y'all. Let's go back before we go forward, and let's look at some of the things, some of the hires, and some of the people that Tiffany Henyard brought into her regime, and why it's under so much fire now. Check this out.
We put our tax dollars in Dolton. We tax dollars in Dolton.
Frustration growing in South suburban Dolton after a Fox 32 investigation uncovers a registered was recently put on the payroll.
Now some residents are calling for the mayor's resignation.
Dane Placco first broke the story and reports the pressure is building at Village Hall.
We want transparency.
About 20 Dolton residents and a couple trustees protest outside Village Hall today, furious after a Fox 32 investigation found this registered child sex offender on the public payroll.
You don't give them carte blanche to go into different people's homes.
46-year-old Lavelle Redmond is close friends with Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who in September hired Redmond as a code enforcement officer without the village board's approval. Redmond served 25 years in prison for the brutal beating of two young teenage girls in the 1990s and was arrested and charged after our first story aired for violating the reporting requirements of the registry. But Mayor Henyard says her friend deserves a second chance, infuriating a number of Dolton residents.
But see, she not only hired Mr. Redmond, and remember, she hired this guy, gave him a position where he would be able to go into people's homes, where he had this conviction. And he did 25 years for that, for something that was very brutal to young, I don't really have to say it, with YouTube guidelines. But she hired this guy and brought him on, then tried to lie and act like she didn't know his background when we found out that she was actually having relations with this man. So now we know that she's actually in a relationship with a known married man while she's holding a public office seat. This is crazy, but he's not the only person that she hired with a sketchy past. She hired Keith Freeman. Keith Freeman was her top aide. And this guy had a very sketchy past. And He was the one now that she's blaming everything on. She's saying that it's all Keith Freeman's fault. But let's look at Keith Freeman's history. It's either the former police chief or the police chief, Mr. Lacey, Chief Lacey. We remember the police officer that police chief that she fired, and he came, he surfaced up and down in Florida, and he blew the whistle on her a year ago. He did an interview with Fox 32, and he was talking about the inadequacies and all the things that was going on in Dolton under this Mayor Tiffany Henyard and what she was doing and the misappropriation of funds. He already blew the whistle. He already called this stuff out, right? But now Chief Lacey, he's indicted on bankruptcy fraud. And he's been filing bankruptcy since the 80s and doing all kinds of fraudulent stuff. But once you get him and you get Keith Freeman together and they have similar charges, you already know. But these are the people that you are entrusting to make decisions for you and protect you. These are the people that she got as a part of her administration. Check out Lois Lacey. A couple days ago, she had a board meeting and only 2 of the trustees showed up. And during the meeting, one of the trustees got up and walked out. But she had the meeting anyway. She went on this monologue about how basically perfect she is and why she should be exalted and all this, that, and the third. But this woman is just delusional. If y'all don't believe me, listen to this.
More drama in Dolton. Tensions rising tonight with Mayor Tiffany Henyard defying village trustees and moving forward with a meeting they had postponed.
Casey Cronus is live in Dolton with the latest tonight. Casey.
Much of tonight's meeting featured a monologue by Mayor Henyard, who says there is a smear campaign against her. Henyard's personal lawyer also gave an impassioned speech advocating for her. But only 2 trustees showed up tonight, and one of them left halfway through. At Dolton's Village Hall, the doors opened and the lights were turned on, despite a regular board meeting being canceled.
As you can see, the Board of Trustees decided not to show up.
On Labor Day, village trustees announced they were postponing the meeting, moving it to Thursday, September 12th.
Mayor and the 6 trustees, we need to get it together.
With no quorum, Henyard announced nothing would be voted on. Still, department heads spoke, and with about 20 residents in attendance, Henyard, who has dubbed herself Super Mayor, took the floor.
Wake up, pay attention, do your research on everybody. Can't be just, I want to research the mayor. Research everybody, then you'll understand the fight. You'll understand why things is the way it is. Because when we took over, we came and cleaned up the village of Dolton. And what I mean by that is, when they got a complaint, I told them, please make sure you take care of the residents.
Henyard even appointed a new village attorney and a village administrator, despite one already holding the role.
She can't appoint one because Keith Freeman is still the village administrator. All of that was illegal. Once she didn't have a quorum, what she should have did, adjourn the meeting.
Henyard's personal lawyer, Bo Brinley, who was seated beside her, says the trustees didn't provide the necessary 10-day notice to reschedule the meeting. As Henyard introduced him, Trustee Brown asked to be excused. Brinley alleges the mayor is under attack.
This attack comes in the form of false statements. This attack comes in the form of frivolous lawsuits and unconstitutional recall efforts.
And it just so happens this comes on the same day Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul issued a binding opinion regarding 2 recent Dolton board meetings, finding Mayor Henyard and the village board violated the Open Meetings Act by failing to make its June 3rd and July 1st meetings convenient and open to the public. Henyard says she is excited to announce she will soon be holding a State of the Village address. She says she will be providing receipts and tells residents to stay tuned. Reporting live in Dolton, Casey Cronus, Fox 32, Chicago.
And then we get to Michael Ace Smith. And this man also has a sketchy background. But Tiffany Henyard, not to be unhinged, hired this man, right, to be her top aide to take Keith Freeman's position. Either this woman is just like something's wrong up, in her head, or she just don't give a damn. Like, so she hires this guy, and this guy has all kinds of things in his past. Now, some of the things that he was found not guilty of, but some of the things he has been, and it's also alleged. Man, listen, This guy has a background, and the people of Dolton are very upset. They don't want him there. We will see this guy numerous times come to the Dolton Township meetings and the Dolton meetings, and he would speak on behalf of Tiffany Henyard to the point where I thought that he was a relative. But he would come and he would just speak and really have her back. So now with everything that's happening and transpiring in the town, in the township, and in the city of Dolton, she hires him now as her top aide, which is a very lucrative six-figure job. Check this out.
And I'm sure a background check was not ran on this individual.
Should there have been a background check?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
More drama in Dolton tonight as Mayor Tiffany Henyard's latest hire is now under fire.
Fox 32 has learned that Dolton's new village administrator has had multiple brushes with the law and was fired from a high school for allegedly sexually harassing a 15-year-old girl.
Dane Placco has the latest chapter in this ongoing Dolton investigation.
My next appointment will be for village administrator.
Tuesday night, Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard appointed a new top aide to a $100,000 a year job, 34-year-old Michael A. Smith, who's been active in South suburban politics for years.
The reason for Mike is he have a wealth of great information. He's a young person and ex-politician. He knows the laws like the back of his hand.
Perhaps that's because Smith has been in and out of trouble with the law for years.
I'd like to thank the residents as well as the mayor.
Public reporting shows Smith has been charged at least 8 times with crimes ranging from domestic battery to official misconduct. In 2012, Smith, then a young trustee in Dixmoor, resigned after pleading guilty to theft when he allegedly stole gasoline by posing as a police officer. Then in 2018, Smith was working as an assistant dean at Thornton Fractional High School when he was fired for sexual harassment of a female student, grooming a student with lascivious intent, and inappropriate aggressive behavior towards a male student. According to his termination letter, Smith was accused of contacting a 15-year-old female student on Snapchat with inappropriate comments and making her his girlfriend. Then earlier this year, Smith was fired from the Echo School District for falsifying information on your employment application.
We have a constant pattern of her hiring people without doing a proper background check and presenting it to the board. And that's our issue. That could pose a great danger to our community.
Dolton trustees Brittany Norwood and Tammy Brown
Is alarming.
were not at last night's meeting when Smith was appointed. The 4 Dolton trustees opposed to Henyard postponed the meeting and say none of the action taken was legal.
It's very interesting, considering the fact that she didn't have a quorum. So I don't understand how someone could be appointed.
Smith is replacing Henyard's previous hand-picked village administrator, Keith Freeman, who fell out of favor after he was charged with bankruptcy fraud and is now believed to be cooperating with an FBI investigation into Henyard. But Freeman is apparently still on the village payroll and filling the job.
So can you have a second village administrator?
No. We don't have the finances for that. As you all know, we are definitely in a financial bind, and we cannot afford 2 village administrators.
Henyard's attorney, Bo Brindley, provided us with a response from Smith, saying, quote, DCFS did a full investigation and found the allegations were unsupported. All the charges against Smith were ultimately dismissed, with the exception of a single petty misdemeanor. Mayor Henyard renounces efforts by any individual to denounce a man's character based on unfounded allegations and charges that have been dismissed. Smith was already working today at Dolton Village Hall. Trustees say they'll try to take action at their next board meeting to block his hire. Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
So now she bring on this guy, Michael Swift, but we're finding out that Keith Freeman is still on the payroll. And the trustees are saying that they can't afford 2 people in that position because they're broke, they have no money. Tiffany Henyard's lawyers are alleging that they did the background check on Michael Swift and everything checked out. So, listen, we know the history of Tiffany Henyard. We know the situation with her bad hires. We also know the situation with that other trustee that had the alleged essay assault on a resident when they were in Vegas. We know about all the misappropriation of funds. We know about all this kind of stuff. And now she's blaming everything on Keith Freeman. She's saying that she was a young woman coming in. She didn't know what she was doing, and it was all Keith Freeman's fault. That's the strategy that her and her lawyers are using. But Tiffany, you know we can see you, right? We know that she was a trustee for like 8 years. She was on the trustee board. She was well known. You know, we know that she had businesses and she owned property. Like, she wasn't stupid. She understands money. And she knows that, she understands the rules when she was a trustee about spending top dollar when you're going to out of town and eating at these high-end restaurants and all this kind of stuff. She knew what she was doing. She knew what she was getting herself into. She didn't care. So now you just throw Keith Freeman under the bus, right? But like I said, it's only a matter of time if it's not already happened that Officer Lacey, police chief, former, I don't know what he is, that he'll be snitching. We know that her former chief of staff is telling. Well, listen, at her trial, it's going to be so many people coming to take the stand and testify against this woman. Oh my God, man, it's going to be bad, man. It's going to be bad. But we found out that she was Mr. Redmond, the one that was locked up all those years. She was actually having relations with him. She's now in a relationship with a well-known married man while she's sitting in a public office seat. This whole situation is just insane. It's just insane, man. But I'm gonna cut this video short here, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think, man. Let me know what you guys think of this Tiffany Henyard situation. But as more of this come out, I'll report more of it. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time, peace.